Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. My name is Sarah. I am a PhD student at Indiana University. I study rhetoric and composition specifically. In this channel, I hope to just show you what it's like to be a grad student. I'm taking classes online currently because of COVID. I also teach 2 sections of public speaking. I'm just gonna put on some moisturizer, do some really light makeup. I do have to prep a facilitation that I'm leading for my first class. So what that entails is basically just going on the discussion board and looking for one particular reading and looking at all the comments that people made about it and sort of trying to synthesize those comments and pull out some major threads of the conversation, things that people are interested in. So the reading that I'm doing is actually one that was pretty cool to me, so I don't think this will be too hard. I'm not going to allot more than like 10 or 15 minutes for doing that. Going back through the discussion board and planning out how I want to facilitate discussion. It is 11:05 right now, so I have about 25 minutes before class starts. The way I did this is I just sort of put a single sentence that had like a summary, and then I went back through the discussion board and I said, okay, we seem to highlight these themes, and here's one question that I have for you all that I can just throw in the chat and ask them. This is just a really simple way that I plan how I want to sort of facilitate my discussion. I also went ahead and made some cinnamon sugar toast because I ate breakfast a little earlier than normal and I can feel I'm gonna get hungry because Zoom is about an hour and 15 minutes. Then after class today at about 1:30, I am going to go pick up some fancy donuts from a place called the Salty Donut. They have some in South Florida. I don't know if they have them in other places as well, but they're like just hands down, you cannot fight me on this, objectively the best donuts. So I'm gonna pick up a few of those for me and my mom, and then for my sister-in-law as well. I really just spent this past weekend, and I spent yesterday doing like independent reading and trying to get some articles picked out, some more research done for the final project that I'm hoping to do in that class, because I meet with my professor for it on Friday of this week, so I want to have something really planned out to tell her that I want to do for this final project. So there was recently a call for papers that I am hoping to sort of gear my final project towards, because if it's something that I don't hate at the end, maybe I will consider submitting it for publication. So it'd be awesome to sort of gear it towards that CFP already. So this makes me wonder if now would be like a good time in my channel, which I'm hoping is helping you guys navigate grad school or learn a little bit more about grad school, what CFPs are. So CFP stands for Call for Papers, and conferences either put them out or for special editions of journals, or maybe new journals that are starting up, or even for chapters of an edited collection for a book, where basically they are asking you to submit papers or to submit proposals for a conference or for these edited collections or journals. And they usually stick to a specific theme. And they tell you what they're looking for. If they're looking for a proposal, they tell you if they want an APA, MLA format. They tell you if they want it like 250 words, 500 words, maybe even 1,000 words. And sometimes when you're submitting just for articles, they ask you just to straight up submit the entire article. So the way that these CFPs are sort of disseminated and dispersed is normally through listservs. So I'm part of a few different listservs, just being in the rhetoric and composition community. WPA listserv, I just subscribed to that a week or 2 ago, and they really fill your inbox, but there is some really cool stuff on there. There is like the Next Gen listserv, which is sort of like more emerging scholars, marginalized scholars, scholars of color, stuff like that. That's a really good one to be subscribed to as well. And then I went to the Feminist Rhetorics Conference, so I am surprised to the am subscribed to the Feminist Rhetoric Coalition listserv, I believe is what it's called. So I'm sure these are things that you could Google. I'm sure there are forums for them on things like Grad Cafe, and I'm sure there's even Reddits about them, of what listservs in your field are best to subscribe to. But if you're looking to go to conferences, if you're looking to be published in especially maybe like a lower stakes venue or a lower stakes journal, I think that these CFPs are really great things to keep an eye out for, especially because there's so many themes. There are so many journals and conferences out there, and if there is one that is sort of already appealing to a project that you're doing or appealing to your specific area of research, I mean, why not? All right, time to go get some donuts. This is a crop top that was $5 from Target. I'm self-conscious because I feel like it makes me look like a Target employee. So I want to talk just really quickly about some paper writing tips. I know earlier in this vlog I talked about CFPs, and again, a goal of my vlogs is like not to just show you how I live my life for no purpose, but really to show you what it's like to be a grad student and to really offer like concrete advice and concrete tips that I wish I could have had when I was an undergrad thinking about what grad school entails. So the way that I write my papers now as a grad student, and I think something that is really carried over from undergrad, is I always go back and I reread the article that I'm going to write it out of. So if you're writing a paper just as like a close synthesis of one article or one chapter of a book, always spend the extra time rereading it, because you're reading it with a certain idea in mind. You're reading it with like an idea of something that you have as your thesis there, and I think that you see it with a new lens and a new set of eyes, and that is like the biggest advice that I can give you. Spend that extra time, spend the extra hour or two rereading the chapter, rereading the article. And as I went through and reread it, my highlights actually didn't save the first time, which sucks. I go back and I highlight everything that's interesting to me, and I really make notes in the margins. I'm using Adobe Acrobat on my iPad right now, but there's a lot of really good apps to annotate PDFs. And I mark places that I know I'm going to need when I give like a summary of the article. So here's a definition of one of the main words, kairos, in the way that she's using it particularly. And then I make notes for how exactly I can see this playing out in my paper. And then this, again, is only like a 2-page paper, so it doesn't have to be that serious at all. But I just am not someone who can just all of a sudden start writing. I need to have some outline, even if it's a really, really small thing. So I started off just with sort of like my main ideas about the paper, and then I tried to pull out maybe like things that I can see for me, like 2 main ideas, since it's only 2 pages and I don't have much space. And then I gave the themes sort of here, and I said, okay, here's how I'm going to outline this. And then the way my actual writing process goes is really different every time. And this is like really funny because this article that I'm reading and writing about is actually about like listening to your body and listening to like the resonances all around you in the writing process. And I think that's really how I go about writing. I used to always say, like in undergrad, I have to be in the writing mood to get anything done, and I just would sort of know when that mood overcame me, which sounds really like hippy dippy and a little weird. But in grad school I found that I don't really have the luxury of just waiting till genius comes upon me, until I'm inspired or in the right like writing mood. I just have to get it done. So I have just found that the more awareness I have of my writing process, the better my writing tends to be, and the more I tend to enjoy the process. So I am someone who cannot do a paper before the sun sets. I have to do a paper after dinner or at night. That's just the way things go for me. So if you're someone who really struggles to write a paper, I strongly encourage you to just think about what works best for you, to think about where you need to be when you write. I'm almost always on my bed or in my room in a really quiet place. Maybe some people need to work in a loud coffee shop, or maybe you need to be writing next to someone, or maybe you're someone who likes to handwrite your outlines rather than typing them up on a computer. But overall, I think the more awareness that you have of this process, the better your writing will be, and the more enjoyable this process will be for you. Happy Wednesday. We have a classic Zoom outfit here with a normal top, some cute earrings, and then sweatpants on the bottom. I have had a bit of a slow morning, just watching some YouTube videos and trying to get over like my sudden allergy attack. I think I forgot to take like my Nasacort that I take to like deal with like all the cat hair that's in my house because I'm pretty allergic to cats. I think I got behind and haven't taken it for 2 or 3 days, so I should take that now. And my eyes were just like so itchy this morning and just like super sneezy, so just had a slow morning per usual, and now I'm about to hop into some schoolwork. I'm trying to read this book and it's honestly really interesting, but my eyes are just closing, and I slept for a while last night, and I tried to make some coffee this morning and I could just tell it was gonna hurt my stomach. So I'm about to go to Starbucks and get myself a peach green tea lemonade because that has some caffeine in it. It's a little gentler on my stomach. It's 4:25. I finished up my new teacher training, finished up the research meeting, and I just finished up one tutorial that went pretty quickly in the writing center. Alright, it is almost 9 o'clock. I finished up my tutorials, ate some chicken fajitas for dinner that my mom made, and I talked to my sister on the phone for a little bit. So I'm about to go hop in the shower and then sort of decompress a little bit, and when I get out I'm gonna finish up that short paper that I was working on yesterday. I like to let it just sort of sit for like 24 hours and come back and make the cuts and the edits that I need to. Alright, time to submit the paper. I am over word count, but better to ask for forgiveness than permission, baby. Happy Thursday! I'm about to zoom in for my class. I caved and am drinking some iced coffee now because I'm really gonna need it to stay awake. I finished that class, and I also met with the professor for office hours and responded to some discussion posts. I am about to go spend the next 2 or 3 hours before my next class, I think, editing a video that I filmed a few days ago about feminism and grad school. I think that is a good use of my time right now. I also think I'm going to end off this vlog here, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you learned a thing or two about what it's like to be a grad student in English studying rhetoric and composition. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment, subscribe for similar content. I am still getting this YouTube channel started, and it's something that's pretty exciting for me, so I really appreciate all of the support. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video.